In those days, the average American family had 7 children, and all those kids needed someplace to live.
What?
So lots
7?
of Americans moved west, where there was lots and lots of unclaimed land.
423 years of American history in 13 minutes. Also, if you like my content, please like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and I hope you have a great day and you will enjoy the reaction. Let's go.
America's rise to number 1 was actually quite unexpected. In fact, most of North America was ignored for more than 100 years after it was discovered. Here's a map that was made right before Christopher Columbus discovered America. The Vikings said they had discovered an island somewhere over here, but no one realized that it was actually a continent. So Columbus believed that he could find a trade route to Asia by sailing west. But actually he found some islands in the Caribbean Sea. Columbus didn't find the spices he was expecting, but he still believed that he was close to India. So he called the natives Indians, got some goodies, and took them back to the king and queen of Spain.
Hey, your majesties, I just got back from Asia. Great, where are the spices? Well, we haven't found the spices yet, but they've got lots and lots of gold. Now you're talking, Columbus. Go back, tell them all to be Christians, and bring back that gold.
A few years before Columbus,
They were not aware how big is American continent. They were just like standing on the porch of the American continent when they discovered the islands.
claimed the West Indies for Spain, the Portuguese had discovered that they could reach Asia by sailing around Africa. So Spain and Portugal drew a line right down the middle of the map, and they agreed that all the non-Christian lands on this side of the line would belong to Portugal, and everything on the other side would belong to Spain.
That's so crazy,
So the Portuguese
man.
sailed to Asia and built a huge trading empire, and the Spanish got busy conquering their half of the world.
But what about other countries? Spanish and Portuguese, like, whatever. Don't worry about other European countries like France, Great Britain, Germany. Let's divide the world and make it ours, and that's it.
All of the interesting parts of the Americas were down here, where there was lots of gold, silver, and people. So that's where the Spanish went. Actually, the Spanish also sent an expedition into North America in 1539, but they didn't find gold and silver, so they mostly ignored all these useless lands up here in North America. The English actually sent an explorer to North America while the Spanish were still exploring the islands in the Caribbean. That was 16 years before the Spanish discovered Florida. But after that, the English waited almost 100 years before they tried to colonize America.
Wow. 100
England's
years.
first colony was established at Roanoke, North Carolina in 1585.
Just imagine how much wealth for 100 years Spanish were able to gain, like while England was waiting, man. That's a lot of money. 100 years, that's a lot of time also.
But the same year, England got busy fighting a war with Spain, and that colony mysteriously disappeared. So they tried again at Jamestown, and this time it worked. Next, the Pilgrims arrived in Plymouth. The Pilgrims were strict Christians who outlawed bad stuff like gambling and celebrating Christmas. Soon lots and lots of people were coming to America, and before long, the East Coast was covered with British colonies. Meanwhile, the French were busy claiming all of the land in the middle of North America. Now it's 1754, and it's time for a war to figure out who really owns what in America. New France has a population of about 60,000 people, so they team up with some Indian tribes to help them fight. That's why it's called the French and Indian War. The British colonies have a population of more than 1 million people, and they also team up with some Indian tribes. Who do you think won?
If you compare how big was New France and how small was 13 colonies, it just kind of doesn't make sense. How is that this big territory were inhabited only by 60,000 people, while this was like inhabited by 1 million people?
Who do you think won? That's right. The British beat the French. At the same time, there was also a big war back in Europe, and when it was over, it was time to redraw up the map. France gave half of Louisiana to Spain before the war was over to make sure Britain didn't get it. Then after the war, France had to give the other half of Louisiana to Britain. France also had to give Canada to Britain. Now Britain had lots of land in America, but Britain had also spent lots of money on the war, and now they needed money.
Hey, colonies, you know that expensive war we helped you win? Yeah, thanks for the help. Sure, no problem. By the way, we're going to start collecting lots and lots of taxes to pay for all the help we give you. What? You never help us. We're the ones who are always helping you. And how can you tax us if we don't get to vote?
The colonists weren't happy with the new taxes, and the disagreement turned into a fight.
Why should they be happy? If I'm not wrong, colonies really didn't need England because, like, why? I mean, they could provide like everything for themselves, and also they had this land full with goods that they can sell and trade with other countries, you know. So why do they need Britain even? You know, that's also a question that needs answer.
And from a fight into a revolution. On the 4th of July, 1776, the Americans declared their independence from Great Britain. And that was the beginning of the United States of America, right? Not quite. It would be 5 more years before the Americans won their War of Independence. And after they had won their freedom, they had a new problem. The government they had created was a complete mess. The 13 colonies had essentially become 13 independent countries that were only united in name. The new nation was failing, and it was failing fast. So the Founding Fathers wrote a new constitution and created an entirely new federal government that actually worked. The new constitution became official when 9 states had ratified it. And
Can President of United States change the constitution? This is the question that I would love to have answer for, because if he can, then it gives him opportunity to change the how many times he can run for presidency. Or maybe if a president can change constitution, he can stay in power for longer, as Putin did in Russia, for example.
in 1789, George Washington was elected the first president of the United States.
Let's go,
But
George!
the USA was only this big, and
Yeah, there he is, Mr. Washington. Dollar bill over here with me always.
states. But the USA was only this big, and all the land over here belonged to Spain. So how did America get more land? Well, over in France, a guy named Napoleon seized power and started conquering Europe. Napoleon also wanted to build an empire in America, so he made a deal with Spain that would give Louisiana back to France.
Oh, wow.
But the Americans needed to
know
use the
that.
Mississippi River to send goods to and from other places, and they were afraid of what Napoleon might do if he controlled the river. So America asked France to sell New Orleans to them.
You know my plans for a great empire in North America. But now I must invade Britain. We can build our empire in America after we defeat the British. But if the Americans discover our plans for America, they will support Britain, which could be fatal. But if we sell Louisiana to the Americans, they will be our friends forever, and Britain will be ours. It would be foolish to sell our largest territory, and the Americans only want New Orleans. Enough! I've made up my mind. We will sell it all. The money will fund our war with Britain.
And so America bought Louisiana for $15 million.
Wow.
America had just doubled in size, and that
Probably $15 million by now would be 10 billion, maybe more.
was good because America's population was also almost doubling every 20 years. In those days, the average American family had 7 children, and all
What?
those kids needed some place to live.
What?
So lots
7?
of Americans moved west, where there was lots and lots of unclaimed land.
What can I say? Americans love kids and love family, man. 7 kids. I mean, wow. That's a lot of, like, kids. That's a lot of mouths that you need to feed.
Does anyone own this land? Of course not. Great, because now it's mine. But these lands, my hunting grounds. That's not proper English. You're supposed to say, these lands were my hunting grounds. Hmm?
In 1819, America bought Florida from Spain and agreed that this line right here would be the border between the United States and New Spain. Just 2 years later, Mexico won its independence from Spain, and America had a new neighbor. The northern territories of Mexico were sparsely populated and difficult to control, so the Mexican government invited Americans to settle in Texas. These settlers quickly outnumbered the Mexicans, and before long, the Texans broke free from Mexico and created their own independent republic.
Yeehaw! We want to join the USA. Do you have slaves? Yes, we do, and we're proud of it. Sorry, we don't need any more slave states.
Hey guys, I'm president now, and this is ours. In 1845, the United States changed its mind and let the Republic of Texas join the Union. Disputes over the border of Texas led to a war with Mexico. At the end of the war, the United States paid Mexico $15 million and took the northern parts of Mexico that President Polk wanted. Just 5 years later, the United States also bought another piece of land from Mexico for $10 million. Meanwhile, the British agreed to let the Americans have all of the Oregon Territory below this line, as long as the British could have everything above the line. And so, in just 50 years of great luck and one ugly war with Mexico, America now stretched from sea to sea. And now there was nowhere left to expand, unless...
Hello, Uncle Sam. I found an island in the middle of the ocean. Can I claim it for the U.S.? We might need that for World War II. Does anyone live there? No, sir. Is it covered in bird droppings? Yes, sir. Congratulations, son.
Are they talking about Hawaii by any chance?
You're standing on U.S. soil. Actually, sir, I wouldn't call this soil.
By the way, the Guano Island Act is
Ah,
still a
Guano
law,
Island.
so if you're tired of paying way too much for rent, go find yourself an island to occupy. Wow, everything is great. Right after the Americans got California, word spread that gold had been discovered, and lots of people rushed to California to help dig up the gold.
Listen, that was so quick how Americans basically... That was so quick that Americans became this huge country, taking into consideration that it started from original 13 colonies. Wow, such a quick, rapid conquest of the land, man.
Up in the Oregon Territory, there was lots of free farmland. America was thriving and there was peace on all sides. But there was a big problem on the inside, and that was the problem of slavery. In northern states, slavery was illegal, and many considered it to be a great evil that must be stopped. In the South, slavery was an important part of the economy. The Americans had been arguing about slavery for decades, but everything came to a head when Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860. Many people in the South believed that Lincoln would abolish slavery, so most of the slave states separated from the United States and made their own country.
Just so you know, Abraham Lincoln, he was born in Kentucky. So basically, Kentucky is popular for Kentucky Fried Chicken and the birthplace of the former USA president.
That led to a big civil war. Lots of people died. The North won, the slaves were freed, and the United States was united again.
It's such a terrible thing when a civil war occurs, you know, and the people who are basically brothers kill each other. It's a terrifying experience, and unfortunately, it's a common thing.
I'm sorry to hear about the assassination of President Lincoln. Yeah, another assassin tried to kill me on the same night, but I survived the stabbing. That's terrible. I mean,
That's terrible that
it's
you
terrible
survived.
that you were stabbed, but I'm glad that you survived. By the way, the Tsar wants America to have Alaska. How much can you pay for it? I think we could do 5 million, maybe 5.5 million, but not more. How about 7 million? Sure. Great. I have approval
not?
for 7 million. We can make the treaty tomorrow. Can we do it tonight? I should have asked for more money.
Great. Now America has another huge chunk of land. Now it just needs a few...
Why did America even buy Alaska? Why? What was the reasoning? More land is better. Second option is like maybe there are some hidden resources over there, or we can like set a foothold on the other side of Canada, you know, because Britain owns Canada.
tropical islands. Hey, look at that! Some American businessmen have taken control of the Hawaiian Islands, and they're asking the United States to annex them. But the President of the United States said no. He believed that America must be a just and law-abiding nation that never misuses its great power to take advantage of the weak. But others feared that if America didn't get involved in the affairs of Hawaii, another great power like Germany or Japan would come and take the islands and use them as a base to attack America in a future war. Should America mind its own business?
Smart.
Or should it mind its own interests?
Smart.
America's policy of staying out of other nations' conflicts was about to be tested because something was brewing in in Cuba, and it wasn't coffee. Cuba was in the middle of a war for independence. Almost all of Spain's other colonies had already won their independence from Spain after the American and French revolutions. But Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines were still colonies of Spain. The Cuban War for Independence was constantly in American newspapers, and most Americans sympathized with the revolutionaries. In 1898, after an American warship sank in a mysterious explosion, the US told Spain to leave Cuba or else. Spain responded by declaring war on the United States. Then the
Easy
US
as
quickly
that.
captured Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines, effectively bringing an end to what remained of the Spanish Empire that Christopher
Wait. America captured Philippines? That's kind of interesting.
Columbus had begun. During the Spanish-American War, the US also annexed Hawaii, which was becoming an important naval base. After the war, the president was shot, and so the young and energetic Theodore Roosevelt
Wait, after the war, president was shot? Another president was shot. William McKinley, he got shot? Wow, I never knew about that. I even didn't know that like the president was William McKinley.
So the young and energetic Theodore Roosevelt unexpectedly became president.
Hey, Columbia, we want to build a canal right here. Sure, just pay us $10 million. It's a deal. Actually, we changed our mind. You can't build a canal. What? But we made a deal. Sorry. Hey, Panama, welcome to the Club of Countries. We want to build a canal right here.
This is how Panama appeared. So by this video, he's trying to say that USA like influenced the appearance of Panama, something like that.
Sure, go ahead.
While Roosevelt was president, he built up the second largest navy in the world and used this powerful navy to influence global politics. The Americans finished building the Panama Canal in 1914, allowing the powerful US Navy to quickly move between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. America had become a world power, and World War I had just begun.
I had no idea that USA controlled Philippines back in the day. I mean, unfortunately, the author of the video didn't explain what happened after, because how did Philippines became an independent country. That would be another topic that I would love to hear about, but I was shocked by the rapid development and rapid conquest of America by Americans, you know, from the original 13 states. Overall, if you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, click the bell for notification. Hope you have a great day and see you in next reaction videos. Leave your suggestions in the comment sections. Bye.